Hi, it's Coach Lloyd, 25-time Ironman and long course finisher, sub 3-hour marathoner, and first African American to finish an Ironman on all 6 continents plus Kona. So today what we're going to talk about is riding gear for the winter. Whenever it gets cold, you still want to ride your bike outside. Now sometimes it gets so cold that you may want to take everything indoors, but every so often it's a nice day outside and you may still want to get some of that outdoor training done and get out of your basement, out of your cave, and hit the road. So in order to do that really well, you want to make sure that you have the right gear when you go outside. So let's start off at the bottom. So making sure that you get some good socks is going to be a key part of it. You want a nice tight-knit sock that's going to keep your foot warm. By the time winter comes around, I like to make sure that I get the longer socks that come all the way up cover my ankles and go up my calf versus the same short ankle length that you normally ride in during the summer or fall season. So get a nice pair of warm riding socks is a good option. You can also complement that by getting some toe covers. So inside your shoe, you can put these on top of your socks so that they go inside of your shoe. There's also the option of doing some that are outside of your shoe as well, and that's going to help prevent the wind from coming in as you ride. When it gets really cold, you have the other option of just getting a full cycling boot. And so you can see that it's a nice thick coating here that prevents the wind from coming in. It provides some insulation as well so that it just kind of engulfs the whole shoe. So it's a nice warm area that just keeps your foot enclosed. They're pretty easy to put on. One of the tricks I like to do sometimes when it's really cold is you can even add on a shoe warmer or a hand warmer, same kind of concept. Put that inside, and then you're just going to place your shoe inside of the boot, and then you're good to go for your bike ride. All right, so you'll notice that with the boot, is going to cover the whole thing, and then it just kind of closes up in the back so that your whole entire ankle and everything like that is going to be covered so that you're insulated, no wind is getting in as you ride, as well as waterproof so that, you know, any snow or anything like that, any rain, that's not going to really deter the ride. But it's always good to have your feet pretty warm when you ride, whether it's with a good pair of socks, some toe covers, or going with the full-on boot. Moving up to your gear, when it gets cold, you want to start to switch out from your regular cycling shorts over to a cycling bib. So when you move to your cycling bib, you'll notice that the lower half is similar to your cycling shorts, but then they have the bib top that goes up and over. That way, when you put on your base layer shirt, then you can just keep everything here. And because it's one unit, you don't have that separation from your cycling shorts and your jersey where the wind can get up and give you that nice chill that you want to make sure you avoid. So by switching over to a bib in the winter, it allows you to kind of keep the wind out and all of your top layers or your coat, your jersey, to go on the outside of it without the wind kind of coming up under. Once you have your bib, you can now start to add on, whether you're going to add on some tights or some leggings. All right, you can have them where they're either tight fitting or loose. Either way, you're just trying to have a nice layer that's going to be moisture wicking, keep the moisture off of you, and it may or may not have some sort of wind protection for you. But either way, you're just trying to get something over your joints and your knees so that you don't really feel that cold winter breeze coming on you. When it gets really, really cold and tights just aren't enough, you can always take it up one notch to some winter cycling pants. They're great for commuting or even for your, hard ride. What these are going to have, you'll notice that they have the zipper at the leg area. That way, if you decide to put on your boots, it opens up the foot area so that it has a little bit more room in order to accommodate whether you're wearing cycling boots or not. If you don't have them on or you don't need them, you can just zip it back down. On the inside, you'll see that they have a real thermal layering to them. So it really provides the warmth that you're looking for during your ride or your commute, so that everything stays warm. And then on the outer layer, is going to be some sort of water resistant, wind resistant type material, so that as you're riding, the wind doesn't just cut through and give you that chill. Of course, it's going to have your pockets in case you need to hold your keys, your ID, things like that as you're riding. But usually, for most of your outdoor riding, having the bib plus some tights are going to do well and serve you well for most of your rides. But also, if you really need that extra layer sometime when it's really cold, you can go ahead and go for the cycling pants so that you have it there. Some of them can come with padding built in. So if you opt not to get the cycling shorts, or if you're not going to use cycling shorts, you can buy cycling pants that already have the cycling pad already built in for you. So, your choice. Since I already have the cycling shorts, I went with a pair that pants that don't have additional padding into it. You can always have your cycling jersey on top. But what goes underneath the cycling jersey is you're going to just start to kind of layer. So you can start off with just your basic long sleeve, dry fit shirt that's going to go under, and then you place your cycling jersey on top. So you have your base layer of your long sleeve shirt, and then the straps of your bib would go on top, and then your cycling jersey goes on top of everything. So that'll be kind of like your first layer, depending on how cold it is. The colder it gets, you can start to move up to thicker base layers, whether it works as a shirt, or you can really go with that compression tight fitting base layer that goes on pretty close to your skin and holds everything in. Also moisture wicking, but it really gives you that warm feeling as you ride. And then you put your layers on top of it. So whether you're going to put another long sleeve shirt and then your cycling jersey, or you may need to put a jacket on, but making sure you have a nice base layer close to your skin is really important. Next up, it will be if you want to, sometimes you just need a little bit more warmth up top. So you can get something that has more of a fleece type feel to it, so that the inner lining is a fleece that really keeps you warm. This can be sometimes serves as a base layer by itself if you want it to, because it's close to your skin. I like these where they have a turtleneck component so that your neck is covered up a little bit, so it kind of prevents some of the wind. You know, as you're riding on your bike, it's real easy for the wind to kind of cut through and then go straight down the jersey. So having a turtleneck kind of closes that access for the wind as you're out there for your ride. I always like the features that allow my thumb to go through. So this way, it kind of, when I put my gloves on top of this, it just kind of one extra layer, but I still am able to, you know, close it. So if it didn't have this connection with the thumb, you got to worry about the connection between your glove and your sleeve, any kind of opening there. But here, because they're connected with your thumb, when you add your gloves on top, it kind of just prevents additional air from getting in there. Once you go from your base, when you start thinking about what you're going to do, kind of like for your outer shell, you've got different options. You have different cycling jackets. Depending on how cold it is how much or how heavy and the type of material you're looking for. So some work that are, you know, just a nice lighter jacket. A couple features that you look for is, you know, some of them have pockets on the side or something in the back so that you can hold your gels, your ID, your phone, things like that while you're out on a ride. So this would be one of your options for your outer shell. You can regulate your temperature by simply zipping it up as you're out on the ride. So you'd have your base layer, your cycling jersey, and then you throw on an outer shell of a jacket. This one also has that feature of having your thumb be able to come through so that you can still put your gloves on, and that keeps the air from gaining access. Another option of that would be another jacket when it's not too cold, same fleece type option, but it allows you to zip it up and regulate your temperature. So when you're out riding, if it gets a little too warm for you, you can just kind of zip it down as much as you need to until you have it all the way off. If it gets too warm for you for whatever reason, you can always take it off and put it in the pocket of your cycling jersey that you have on underneath. And then, of course, you have your full cycling jersey with the protective outer shell, the wind resistance, water resistant. This is going to really protect you from the wind coming through on those bike rides compared to the others that really don't have a wind protection component. They're just for warmth. So if it's not too windy, those work well. But when you get out to windy days where the wind is kind of cutting through, you want to have that outer shell that provides some sort of wind coverage so that you don't really feel the wind cutting through. They also have the insular lining that keeps you warm. They're all going to come with pockets in the back so that you can hold all the various equipments you want. Some of them have extra zippers on the side in addition to the normal back pockets that make it pretty functional and pretty easy for you to work with. Moving along, you're going to start to want to put something on top of your head. All right, when you have your helmet on, the wind is going to be blowing through. It gets pretty chilly, so you want to just kind of throw some sort of skull cap or cycling hat on so that your head isn't just getting exposed to all the wind. When it gets really cold, you can go for a thicker skull cap so that you really stay warm, because again, as you're riding, the wind is coming through the helmet and really kind of getting you a little bit cold. So we want to protect your head and keep it warm. You can also get some cycling helmet covers where you can just wrap your helmet with one of the covers, and that's going to keep the wind from coming in as well. So either one of those options work pretty well. Then you move on for your extremities, for your hands. I always like to have nice simple gloves. Make sure that some of them have that technology that if you need to access your phone, you can still turn them on, versus without that, that particular texture on them, you'll have to take your glove off in order to turn your phone on, make a call, receive a call, check your messages, things like that. So I start off with a thinner glove at the beginning of the season, and as it gets colder and colder, you know, you just kind of incrementally increase the thickness and the wind protection. So some of them will, you know, have a nice mesh on the outside, so when it's really windy, the wind will still kind of get through. And if you're ever riding in the cold at high speeds or at any speed, what really throws you for a loop is, you know, when the wind comes through and gets on your hands. You know, the extremities really get cold, so you really want to make sure you get something that has wind protection as well as insulation so that your hands stay pretty warm. On those super crazy cold days when you just have to get the ride in, where going into your pain cave and being in the basement just won't do. A couple options for the thick ones. I like either one, whether it's the mitten type effect so that your fingers stay close together, or you have your hands, your fingers in each one individually so that you have the dexterity to move them around. But now I have the wind protection on the outside so that I can still hold on to the hood, get in my drops, access my brakes, and then I'm protected from any kind of wind that's coming on with my hands out front. And the insulation on the inside keeps everything very, very warm. Just like for the shoes, whenever you want, you can also throw a pair of hand warmers inside the gloves with you as you go. Don't be surprised if from time to time you have to pull them out, give them a little shake and some air, then put them right back in order to kind of keep them working. I always like to go with a neck gaiter when it's getting really windy. So if you have the turtleneck on your fleece, that does a good job of keeping the wind out. But if you don't have that, throwing on a neck gaiter is pretty good. Keeps you nice and warm, and it also doubles as, you know, a potential mask if you need to lift it up for any particular reason while you're out on the ride. When you're out for the ride, you always want to make sure that you're being seen with the weather changing. So, you know, feel free to go ahead and put on some sort of reflective vest. A lot of your jackets probably already have some sort of reflective type material so that vehicles can see you, but it doesn't hurt to have additional layers of visibility so that vehicles and pedestrians, everyone can see you riding as you go. So you have the reflective material there, so it's really easy, especially if you're going out early in the morning for those early morning rides, or if you're going to be riding, you know, commuting from work. You just want to make sure that people can see you. The other thing you're got to make sure, since you want people to see you and for you to see, is you're going to have to also consider getting some lights. All right, so there are different options that you can mount on your handlebars in order for you to see where you're going. If you have lots of street lights, there may be plenty of visibility in the early morning for you, but it's good to just go ahead and and get one. You mount it on your handlebar and you have that there. Any kind of motorist that sees you, they'll be able to see your light. They're pretty easy to install right on your handlebars. You know, they have different features where they blink. Have a different setup for your handlebar. All right. Now you don't want to just have the ones that, you know, give you the light out in front of you so that you see where you're going. Some, you're going to just kind of check the lumens on them to see how much light is giving. But you always want to make sure you also have something on the back. So either you can clip it on to your reflective vest or put it on your gear bag. That way, anyone coming from behind you can still see. You're pretty visible. It can have a blinking feature or the solid red light. That way, you're noticeable to anyone who's coming by, and you stay safe. Again, you want to make sure that you're very visible to motorists or anyone that's out there when you're riding. Whatever you do, just make sure you enjoy your winter ride. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up, leave us a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.